Welcome, foolish mortals, to another episode of the HitchHiking Hosts Show 101. I am your host, your ghost host, West Troop, and I am back this week with another history episode. Well, where are we traveling to in our time-traveling doom buggies this week? Back to Disneyland 1956 once again, because we're going to talk about an attraction. You guys know the original attraction, Autopia. Well, there was a different version as well. One of the different versions of Autopia. This time we're going to talk about Junior Autopia, which would later be known as the Fantasyland Autopia. When the Mickey Mouse Club Circus closed at Disneyland, it left a very barren area in the park. When trying to come up with ideas to fill the space, Walt took a look at one of the most popular Tomorrowland attractions, Autopia. Walt decided, because of the ride's long lines, to add a second Autopia track to fill the space in Fantasyland. The second attraction would be called Junior Autopia. Junior Autopia opened in Fantasyland on July 23, 1956. Junior Autopia's track covered a good portion of the rear of the park in the area behind what would become the Matterhorn a few years later to the Disneyland Railroad. The cars guests drove for this attraction looked identical to those of the original Autopia and were also designed by Imagineer Bob Gurr. Richfield Oil also sponsored this version of Autopia as well. Like the original, the car could seat 2 passengers. There was one big difference, though, as the cars had booster blocks on the gas pedals so smaller children could drive them. The track was virtually identical to the Tomorrowland version as well, seeing the cars going over bridges, beneath tunnels, and around the lagoon. This Autopia was the only track that had a guardrail to prevent accidents. When finished, the track brought riders back to the starting line at Eastern Fantasyland. Like its predecessor, Junior Autopia was a big hit as well. Imagineers decided to expand the track a bit, so the ride closed in September of 1958 for refurbishment. During the revamp, they also decided the name of the redone attraction would change as well. The ride reopened as Fantasyland Autopia in January of 1959. Decades later, in the early 1990s, after the additions of bigger attractions, Fantasyland Autopia was not the hot commodity it once was. In March of 1991, to change things up a little bit, the ride changed its name to Rescue Rangers Raceway as part of the Disney Afternoon Avenue, which promoted Disney Channel shows, in this case, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. The Rescue Rangers Raceway didn't drum up much more attention either, causing the attraction to go back to its former name of Fantasyland Autopia a few months later in November of 1991. During this time, the Fantasyland Autopia became a seasonal attraction, which would only operate on busy days or during the holidays. In 1999, Disneyland announced a partnership with Chevron and announced big changes coming to the auto attraction, which would call for the closure of Fantasyland Autopia. The separate Tomorrowland and Fantasyland tracks were removed, and a much larger track was installed in the space to form the one version of Autopia in Tomorrowland we know today. This also resulted in some of the land that had been part of Fantasyland now beneath the Tomorrowland track. Today, the area that once was the Junior and Fantasyland Autopia is still part of the modern-day Autopia, as well as some of the plaza in front of It's a Small World. Alright, well, that's the show. I'll be back with another episode very soon, as well as another trending topic show, where we'll talk about all what went down in the Disney parks this week. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/HitchHostShow. You can like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/HitchHostShow. Follow on the Twitter @HitchHostShow. And if you want to listen to the show, or you are listening to the show, you can do that on Podbean. It's hitchhostshow.podbean.com. And of course, you can listen on iTunes or Stitcher under West Troop or the HitchHiking Hosts Show. Until next time, don't forget to...
Hurry back. Hurry back.
For the next episode. See ya.